Kiev. Natalia Sopit in the studio. You're watching Our Time. I'll bring you the top stories of the hour right now. 5 people were killed in a Russian attack on Nikopol in the Dnipropetrovsk region. The aggressor struck a market. 19 people were injured, including a young girl. She was hospitalized in critical condition. Also in the Nikopol district, a drone strike on a residential building injured a family, an infant, a 6-year-old boy, and a 41-year-old woman. The region was under attack from artillery, multiple launch rocket systems, and aerial bombs. 13 people were injured after a Russian strike on a 16-story building in Sumy. Among them is 1 child, according to the State Emergency Service of Ukraine. The Russians used drones for the attack. Residents of the high-rise building were quickly evacuated. Rescuers fought the fire on the upper floors using high-altitude equipment. It has been extinguished. Citizens are receiving all necessary assistance. Also, as a result of the shelling, houses in the city's private residential sector were damaged. This morning in Kiev, an office building caught fire as a result of a Russian attack. Preliminary reports say the cause was drone debris falling on the roof, according to the city administration. The fire was extinguished. 40 rescuers and 9 units of equipment were involved in the operation. There were no casualties. In March, the Russian army used a record number of guided aerial bombs since the start of the year. In just 1 month, nearly 8,000 aerial bombs were used. According to Ukraine's Ministry of Defense, that's 1,500 more than in February. Lacking the desired success at the front, the Russians are intensifying airstrikes. Also, in 1 month, the Russian Federation carried out over 115,000 artillery strikes. The intensity of the fighting remains high. In March, nearly 5,000 combat engagements were recorded. The highest number occurred on March 17th, with 286 battles. Faced with the enemy's numerical and technical advantage, Ukraine is stepping up military training, as stated by Commander-in-Chief Oleksandr Syrsky. The main focus is on training quality, effective weapon use, and saving the lives of soldiers. Training programs are constantly updated based on changes at the front and feedback from the military.
We continue to disperse training grounds and centers, moving them to safer areas and building shelters. Besides training centers, 68 military units are currently conducting basic combined arms training at their own bases. Some brigades have long been training recruits on their own, while others have only recently started doing so. Only one thing matters: results and quality. We see the problematic issues and we're developing and implementing solutions. At the same time, our partners recognize the high level of training in the Ukrainian army and are learning from our experience. Oleksandr Syrsky.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has introduced sanctions against Russian entities that supply Russia's military-industrial complex and help bypass restrictions. The sanctions list includes 26 individuals and more than 30 legal entities. The restrictions affected companies involved in the production of drones, weapons, air defense, armored vehicles, as well as marine equipment and software. Separately, sanctions were imposed against enterprises and their leaders operating in the temporarily occupied territories.
These sanctions hit the core of the Russian military-industrial complex, from weapons manufacturers and critical components to networks that ensure the circumvention of sanctions. We are consistently closing the links, including activities in the temporarily occupied territories. The pressure will only increase, both from our side and together with our partners. Vladislav Vlasyuk, Advisor Commissioner of the President of Ukraine on Sanctions Policy, from a statement by the press service of the Office of the President of Ukraine.
Ukraine expects to legally finalize the agreement on a special tribunal for the crime of Russian aggression as early as next month. This was stated by Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha during the United News Marathon. According to him, after the meeting of EU foreign ministers in Kiev on March 31st, 13 countries declared their support. And another country outside the European Union has also joined.
According to the procedure, we need 16 countries. We already have preliminary confirmation from that many countries, but they are undergoing the necessary procedures. This is important because the next key stage in creating the special tribunal is the meeting of the Council of Europe foreign ministers in Chisinau in May. Therefore, it is important that we have reached this number of states to legally and formally establish the tribunal. Andriy Sybiha, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, on the United News Marathon.
NATO has a common interest in Ukraine's victory in the war against Russia. This was stated by German Foreign Minister Johann Wadefel. According to him, the world has become significantly more dangerous. This requires greater cohesion among allies. The minister noted that the United States continues to provide significant support to Ukraine, and Germany is a key partner for Ukraine in Europe.
We have a common interest in Ukraine winning the military confrontation with Russia. We should not call everything into question, but rather build on our successes. Meanwhile, Germany has become a crucial partner in the context of supporting Ukraine. President Zelensky confirmed this to me during my visit to Ukraine. I assured him that Germany will remain the strongest donor. Johann Wadefel, German foreign minister, in an interview with Westdeutsche Allgemeine Zeitung.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte will visit Washington next week. The visit is scheduled for April 8th to 12th, the alliance's press office reported. On the first day, the Secretary General will meet with U.S. President Donald Trump. Rutte will also meet with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The visit takes place against the backdrop of intensifying U.S. rhetoric regarding NATO. Earlier, Donald Trump mentioned the possibility of the U.S. leaving the alliance. On April 9th, the Secretary General will speak at the Ronald Reagan Institute. From April 10th to 12th, Rutte will participate in a meeting of the Bilderberg Group.